And g'day. How are you? Just starting up this stream. This time you can pretty well guess what aircraft I'm flying. The Mad Dog 80 with the Qantas livery, or Qantas Link. Qantas Link actually uh, only applies to those aircraft that are flying between the capital cities. The regional aircraft have that livery, but there's no actual Qantas livery available for the MD-80, and in fact Qantas never ever flew the MD-80, but it is what it is. Now where we are at the moment is at Townsville Airport in North Queensland. It's about 3/4 of the way up from capital city of Brisbane. Townsville actually is also home for a big army base. The scenery here is freeware, but not particularly good. As I mentioned on some of my streams before, unfortunately, when it comes to Australia, there's not too many developers who are really bothered in bringing us some good scenery. And I suppose, as I've said before, this might be a reason why a lot of Aussie simmers might abandon X-Plane if Microsoft Flight Sim comes up with some really good scenery. It's on the cards. But anyway, we'll go with what we've got. Now we're flying up to Port Moresby. It's actually called Jackson Field, and Port Moresby in New Guinea is on the southern coast of New Guinea. And I think, just looking very quickly at SimBrief, there's the route. It's straight up over the ocean. There's no scenery really to see. And if I remember right, it's about 2 hours. Airtime about an hour and a half, and 2 hour flight. The airport up there is freeware, and in fact it's a lot better than Townsville. The airport's got full facilities, so of course ICA codes for Townsville is Yankee Bravo Tango Lima, and for New Guinea Alpha Yankee Papa Yankee. G'day Captain Reynolds, thanks for dropping in, watching the stream. So into the cockpit, I'll just go through some of my procedures here. First off, of course, we make sure that the parking brake is on, which it is, and we switch our battery on. Position lights come on. Emergency lights to arm, and no smoking comes on. Up comes the request for the GPU, and straight away we can put the power on. We should have our start pump on it as well. And before we start up the APU and check a few things out here, we'll just organise our loadings for fuel, cargo and passengers. I'm going to work in pounds, and going from SimBrief, our fuel for all our block fuel is 31,391. Our total payload is 32200, and our trip fuel is 11313. Enter that. So looking at our landing weight, you can see we're slightly over the maximum landing weight, but by the time we get there and we burn off some fuel, pardon me, we should be pretty right. I'm not going to juggle with these figures, it's too close to call. So we go back now. Already we've got our forward door, we've got our aft door open, closed. I've left that closed. Cargo doors are open. But what we can do is start to load the fuel, and because it can take 13 minutes, we'll expedite that. Same with the cargo, would have been 23 minutes. We'll expedite. Passengers, just reading your in chat there, Captain Reynolds. If I keep watching these live streams, maybe one day I'll be brave enough to first officer a flight in one of these birds. Yeah, I've already done that with Forgotten the Passengers. He and I used to do a number of these flights, swapping over between pilot and first officer, but unfortunately FTP's no longer on the scene. He's decided to give flight simming away, and quite frankly setting up that shared cockpit's is a bit of a pain, but once you get it right, it does work. It can work quite well. I'll expedite our passengers. Okay, now before we start up our APU, this is something I should really get into practice of doing, and that is to check out, do tests on our all our overspeed, etc. See if we can hear this. So that's that one, and this one. Okay, we heard you once. I think this is how.
Glide slope. Pull up. Terrain. Pull up. Sink rate. Glide slope.
Okay, so that's all our tests. That's something I should really get into the habit of doing, to adopt the correct procedures. Okay, so I think now that we've done that, we can start up our APU, and straight away the needle's coming around, and it'll go around to 100 for the EGT. While we're doing that, what I might do is just go outside. While we're waiting for that to get to 100%, we'll go outside and we'll assume that all the cargo and the passengers are already on board, so we'll get rid of all of the ground handling. Come on guys, there we go. They're all clearing off. And we can start closing our forward door and close our cargo doors. Okay, one thing I should mention here is that when I loaded this aircraft in, you can see it's not properly aligned. For some reason it was sitting right back here, so I had to slew it over, and the auto gate just doesn't seem to work. It's something that could be fixed up in that particular scenery. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, we've got 100% there. Okay, so we can put on our power buses there, and because that's going, we can dismiss the GPU and turn off those buses there. Don't need this anymore. Alright, up next is HP bleed's got to come on. Galley can come on. Our windshield anti-fog comes on, and our anti-ice comes on. We can go and get alignment organised. Yaw damper, it's already on. I don't know why that is, but it shouldn't be. And our radio rack venturi fan for cooling the radios, it can come on. We can put our temperature select over to cabin. We don't touch the pressurisation because that's all done automatically. We don't worry about this until later. That's setting the QNH for when we land at Port Jackson, at Jackson Field at Port Moresby. Right, next thing we've got to do is find our QNH. So for Townsville, bring up ABBY tab, airport, Yankee, Bravo, Tango Lima. And we're not getting a weather updated. Yeah, okay. I'd like to know the weather then. Alright, so what I might do is I'm going to flick over to a little nav map. And have a look at our QNH there. And if we're using XP11, I'm not using Active Sky. It worries me with the frame rate, so I'm just using the X-Plane 11 weather, and it's QNH is 1009. Move him out of the way. Move that out of the way. And that's set. And while we're here, we can get some lighting on the instruments. And because it's a bit dull in the cockpit, I'll just get some lighting in here. We hit the fuel use reset button. And we now switch over to hydraulic pumps, and we put both of those onto low. And transponder, we're going to leave that at 2000, we'll set it to standby. And we can now fill in our FMC. Activated. Company route, care of SimBrief. Our flight number will be the Qantas 1, which will be Quebec Foxtrot Alpha 55. Captain Bombasso, yo, how are you? Thanks for dropping in. You see how the destination up there drops out sometime? I don't know why it does that. So I'll put in, I should be able to now activate it. It's just one of those little bugs that come up. Okay, over to the perf init now, because we've already expedited the loading of our cargo and passengers and fuel. We can actually just hit these and propagate them. Reserve's going to be 3 tonne. Cost index will be 100. Now the reason I use 100 is because SimBrief does not generate a cost index for this aircraft for some reason. And I read somewhere on the forums that it's anywhere between 0 and 1,000. So I'll put 100. Flight level, yeah, that's something good idea I should find. Flight levels 320. An invalid entry. Sorry, but that can't be right. Oh, well, it's already there. Oh, here we go, maximum altitude. 31,000, okay, easily fixed. We'll go for 300. The cruise wind was set for 320, but I will use it still, 240. Outside temperature, we'll have a look here and it'll give it to us. It's 15 at the moment. Oh, sorry, wrong one. That's next page. It's the top of climb temperature, which is a -33. Able to mess things up. And transition altitude for Australia is 10,000. So outside temperature was 15. Okay, now this is where we can put in our V speeds just from the charts that Raytag give us. I must do a PDF on that and bring it across the screen so people can see exactly what I'm doing here. But the chart that Raytag give you basically allows you to look up the gross weight in pounds or kilograms, and then you can move over the page or across the page. So for example, you pick 141 on the page, and then you choose what your V settings are going to be for the flap setting that you want to take. In this case I go for flaps 11, so that's V1139. V rotate is 144 and V2 is 152. Okay, we could hit the execute key, but we only do that if we know that it's aligned, and we do know it's aligned because these have now come up. So we can hit the execute button. Okay, let's have a look at our departures, but first off look at our legs. And there's not a lot of waypoints to Port Moresby. I do know that PY is the VOR for Port Moresby, and we'll probably end up taking that away because it'll take us direct. It'll then take us direct to that VOR, and then we've got to worry about our star. But I can do that later. So just going back, we've got Swift as our first waypoint, so in departures, and it's going to be, according to SimBrief, it's 01, which it pretty well normally is with Townsville, but we'll check that out anyway. And again, I'm probably going to have to slip back quickly to my little nav map to find out wind direction. And according to this, it's 1900 degrees at 190 at 5 knots. All right, airport. Oh, that's useless, that one, isn't it? I'll just go back. Oh, and get rid of it. That one, that's the one I should have used. Okay, so I said 1910 degrees, right? Yeah, so it may not be, oh, it won't be a 01. That's very unusual. Usually it's a 01 takeoff here. By the way, here's the, down here's where the Air Force, Royal Australian Air Force have some of their F-18s. So it certainly looks like it's going to be a runway 19 takeoff, if that's the correct wind direction. Okay, we can go with that. Let's have a look now at the departures. Looking for a swift departure. Which means here over to Igbik, Lee Dog. That's French for the dog. Adnod and up to Swift. Okay, this said requires minimum climb gradients of runway runway 19, which is at 5.5 degrees to 1300, then 3 for obstacles. Okay, we'll just follow the GPS on this. So that's looks like that's the way we're going to have to go. Let's move him out of the way here. Now it's going to be a runway 19, and we want that swift one departure. There's no transitions. Let's execute that. Let's have a look at the legs. There's that Igbig. So Varby is there. Igbig, Igbik, the dog. Avmat. There's Avmat. Adnod. Varby. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, that's still the first page. Next page. That's better. Swift. And then all the way up. We'll worry about the star when we get up airborne. We could have a wind change of wind direction. So double check this. We'll go over to our modes. And already we can see it's looking pretty good. I'll move him out of the way. Hit the step. And that's it. Okay, quite happy with that. And we'll leave that alone. Now we can move him out of the way for the moment. We don't need him. And I suppose now I've got to get on with our procedures. Just bear with me for a minute. Okay. All right. Now that our APU is on, we've got to get our APU bleed going. We kick off one of these HB bleeds. We go down and we cross, and we put in our crossfeed valves. The galley comes off. I should have put that pump on there before. That's the that feeds fuel to the APU. It should have been on before. We can put these pumps on now, and what we can do is check down below to see whether we're going to be using the centre tank, which we are. So that means the centre tank pumps, they will come on. We now put both bleeds off. We make sure that our wrong one. Make sure that our hydraulic pumps are on low, which they are. And we've got to put our transfer pumps on. That's the auxiliary one. We set the strobe lights ready for takeoff. We put on the anti-collision light. Now we go down to the transponder, and that goes over to XPDR. Now up to our flight director can come on, and the first officers comes on automatically. Max, we're going to put our bank angle over to 15, which is the recommendation. Runway heading, okay, bring this up again. It'll be 197. Speed that up a bit. Okay, our next thing is our altitude, departure altitude. Let's set that at 10. Now our speed, I don't set V1 speed, I set 250, which is the normal allowable climb out speed in most airports. Okay, there we go, we're done there. Alright, let's have a look outside. These guys are driving me mad. This bus always wants to be doing donuts. And let's get rid of it. Yeah, good riddance. Alright, outside, and because that's runway 01 over there, we're going to be travelling all the way down to runway 19, and I think, let's have a look. Oh no, I think we've got taxiway all the way down there. Thought for a minute you might have to backtrack, but no, all the way down there. Alright, so let's call for pushback.
Ground to cockpit, show you we got your plan there. Give me a call through the menu when you're ready to go. Ground to cockpit, toast driving up right now.
Okay, while they're waiting for that, this is the moment when I do my set my long trim. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flex as well, and to flex we go up here and flex to say 40. And we also disconnect the ART, which is this little fellow up here. Okay, so that's done. Let's go down and do our long trim. We've got center of gravity
Alright, all
11.
doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Alright, so center of gravity is 11. It's going to be flaps 11. We'll set flaps 11 over here. And we'll bring our long trim down. It's always difficult with this aircraft when there's dark cockpit
Stabilizer motion.
to actually see
So
that.
connected and bypass pin inserted. Release the parking brake when you're ready.
So you can just make the outline of it here, and it looks like it's dead level. So it's supposed to be between 6 and 7, so it looks right. I just wish this was a little bit more brighter for some reason. Okay, so that's set. And he wants us to release our parking brake, which means now we're...
Alright, starting the pushback, and you may spool them. Clear to start engines.
Now we've got to make sure both of those bleeds are off. See if N2 is rising? Yes, it is. Okay, let's see how we're going. Should be between 20, 21. Coming up now. Straight away we've got EGT rising, N1 rising. And we don't start the next engine until we hear the buses kick in. Like that. A bit of sound, like sound a bit louder. Might be a bit better. And we're gradually coming up here, N2 up to 20, 21. Open up the fuel valve.
Alright mate, operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake. Alright mate, disconnecting tows, stand by.
Okay, there's a second bus that's kicked in. So now we can turn our ignition switch to off. We can put both these start switches to off. The APU air bleed can come off. We can do away with our buses there. Gully can come back on. I think we can do away with the start pump. Our ice protection select meter to captain, that make sure the pitot tubes are kept nice and warm. And our hydraulic pumps go up to high.
Tows disconnected, bypass pin, yeah, it's removed. I'll give you a thumbs up on the right and catch you next time. Have a safe flight.
Thank you. And our bleeds, HB bleeds go to auto. We go down and arm the speed brake. Our flaps go now to 11. It should be 2 notches. They should be coming down. There we go. Very quickly now we can do our check on our zero fuel weight, and according to SimBrief, zero fuel rate was 1.0722. Close enough. Bang, back to there. And we can put on our EPR limiter. Our auto brake selector now goes to RTO. We get rid of these cross-feed valves. And a couple more things to go. Again, I keep forgetting to put the seat belts on at the ramp, which I should do. Alright. Now our nose light goes to dim. Now we better check our flight controls. Get our pedals up and working. Transponder can go to TARA. And transponder direction to above because we're going to be climbing. We're going to arm the auto brake. We'll start the timer, eh? And we can put on our weather radar. And we're ready for taxi. Just a quick check at our annunciator panel, and you'll see the ART is inoperative, which is exactly what we want. And not that one. Where am I? AYPY. Okay. There we go. We should be taxiing that direction. Put him over there. And once we turn right onto this taxiway, which is, what's that taxiway, Alpha, is it? Yeah, we don't need him anymore. What we can do is to make sure that Betty's happy, that the trim is right. Let's just give it a little bit of power. Okay, that's it. She's not squealing, so the trim is set correctly. In preparation for takeoff, we set the ignition switch to both. Speed it up a little bit. Yeah, like I said, it's not very good scenery around here. And I think I've even put an ortho tile around the place, but it's not a lot of improvement on the default. Let's check to see whether we've got to go to the end. Yep. So because we're doing a flex takeoff today, we will push the takeoff flex button. It seems a bit slow on the pickup there. I don't know why that is. I really shouldn't be having to power up that much to taxi it along, but anyway. And we might as well put our all our lights on full.
Approaching 19. On runway 19.
Okay, first thing we do is tow her on. Increase the throttle. Auto throttle. Airspeed's alive. It needs a lot of the runway. That's V1. Rotate. We've got positive climb. Gear up. And fly it for a little while. That nose a bit so that we don't climb too fast, and do our turn. VNAV track. Autopilot on. And we switch here over to climb. Flaps all the way up. I think we might put on nav track, VNAV, and that should drop the nose. There we go. That was a real high angle of attack then. So looking at our annunciator panel, FMS EPR, climb into 10,000. We're on nav track for climb, that's for lateral. We're on VNAV for climb. We've set our EPR buttons to climb. We're climbing out 240. Actually 230 it's supposed to be, so let's have a look at that again. Oh no, there's 230, we're not quite up to 230 speed. Oh, just looking at the chat, Dougal, g'day. Captain Reynolds, g'day. Do I fly with a yoke or stick? A stick. I would like the yoke. But it's out of my price range here in Australia. It's about half as much again as it costs in the States. Connor Morse, hello. I use pure magic, yes I do. I just tell the aircraft to turn right, turn left, does it all by itself. I'll turn that volume down a bit. Yeah, I got the F mod in there, I put it in some time ago. I think if I remember right, Alan A linked me to it. Oops, what am I doing here? Okay, what I'll do now is we're getting close to 10,000 feet, so I'm going to put that up to, what did we say? It was going to be 30,000, 300. Okay, a few things to do. We've got the EPR mode in climb, that's the main thing. Our auto brake selector now can go back to off. And our ignition switch goes to off. We retract our speed brake. And we can put our hydraulic transfer pumps off. And because we're at 10,000 feet, all our lights can come off, and standard barrow. And there we are. Tell you what, Dougal, once you if you follow the checklist provided by X checklist, once you learn where little things are, where everything is, it's not that hard at all, and you get quite a lot of satisfaction if you can do it. Let's watch this. It's not really fancy livery that Qantas has. It's fairly sort of average. The Virgin that operates in Australia, when they first came into Australia, they were actually a company called Virgin Blue. And all their aircraft, which were basically 737-800s, they were all in red livery, so you go figure, Virgin Blue in red aircraft. But eventually Virgin Australia took over Virgin Blue, and now their livery is pretty much white, not a lot different from Qantas. What are my PC specs, Dougal? Look, I've got an AMD processor. I think it's about, I can't throw it up right now, I think it's about 4 gig. My video card is a 1660 Ti. I've got 8 gig of RAM on board. I would dearly love 16. Flight surgeon, I should have said hello to you. You want your prawns. You mean your shrimps. Of course, those of you in the States may remember the ads that Crocodile Dundee used to do. And he used to say, put another shrimp on the barbie. And that was done just for purely for American audiences, because we never call them shrimp, they're all prawns. Flight surgeon knows that, I think. So we're up to our maximum speed now, 292 knots. Mach. No, it's climbing up. We're just doing Mach 0.60. So just interesting to see if it climbs any further than that. And what I'll do is I'll synchronise the, what do we flying? What direction are we flying at? 353 degrees. Let's sync the heading. There you go, nicely lined up. And a quick look here, progress. We get 64 nautical miles to top of climb, so, and we've got is that 561 nautical miles to go to Port Moresby. Yeah, Dougal, you're right about that 8 gigabyte. Dougal, I've got an MSI gaming board. Just hang on a second. Yeah, it's an MSI 970 gaming board. I don't really play games, I just play flight sim. And the CPU, I can't help you with that. All I know it's, is it an AMD4 or something like that? I could hit the specs up, but it means I'd have to put them on the screen. I know the RAM is DDR3. I couldn't afford DDR4. I suppose the other thing I could have done here, just let the passengers get up and walk around. Now that ART, automatic reverse throttle, now that we're up and running, we can put that back and it should go off. There we go. And once we get up to our cruising height, we can do a couple of things up here. Let's have a quick look at our weather radar. Don't think we're going to have any problem with bad weather. That dirty look, I think, is really makes it look more authentic. Actually, no, Dougal. I suppose if you just send it in a little brown a brown packet, like it's just a letter, because unless you want to send it in the case, one of those bubble packs. I don't think. No, look, that our import people, what do you call them, customs people, I don't think they'd give it second thought. Charlie. G'day Charlie, thanks for joining the stream. Tell me guys, does that sound too loud or not? I'll have a look at the map here, but I'm almost certain all you're going to see is blue for water. There you go. Charlie, if any of those emus play up, we just cook them. If you think a chicken drumstick's good to eat, you should try an emu drumstick. So there's our map there. Shows you the Queensland coastline. We just flew out of Townsville. And all this is tropical. From here up, Townsville is considered tropical. What you see here is that's the parts of the barrier reef. Usually though it's a little bit further out than that. Oh no. So that's Cairns up there, that's where I live. And you can see where the reef is. So the reef is very, very close to Cairns. Only takes you about half an hour to go out, particularly if you go out from a place north of here, or Port Douglas. It's up, I don't think it's going to show on this, it might. Okay, there you go. So if you travel up from Cairns, that's even better still. So this is the Cairns Inlet, what they call Trinity Inlet. Cairns Airport is about there. I live just up here, amongst all the crocodiles. Just up here is a place called Wangeti Beach, and that's where my daughter lives, on a crocodile farm with her husband. He's the manager of Hartley's crocodile farm, and believe me when I say there are 1,000 crocodiles on the farm. A lot of them, of course, are little fellows that unfortunately end up as shoes, handbags, but there's a lot of large ones they're used for breeding. And if you go outside her front door and walk about 20 yards, there's pens. So as you travel further north, there's Port Douglas, very well known resort. And the further you go up, you come to a place called Cooktown, Cape Tribulation. Cape Tribulation is where the rainforest meets the sea. Wujal, and eventually you come to Cooktown, named after Captain James Cook. Yeah, McTavish, it is good for black rubber boating. So from Cooktown further north there isn't much else. It's all real tropical, it's deep rainforest. There are some Aboriginal settlements. You see a lot of this sort of lowland mangrove stuff. It's all pretty well uninhabited. And you're actually heading up to the top of Cape York, which is the northernmost part of Australia. A lot of people drive up to the top just to stand up there and say, I've been to the top of Australia. Oh, sorry, that's not quite right. It's a bit further up. Yeah, it's a lot further up. Looks like we're reaching our cruising line. So there you go, up here. And then you've got the islands up here. Where are we? Oops, try that again. Yeah, you get what's called the Torres Strait Islands. Torres Strait Islands. We call it TI, short for Torres Strait, and then over to New Guinea. And there's Port Moresby where we're heading. There you go. And that's my travelogue for today. Just looking at chat again, Dougal, yeah, I'm hoping that Vulcan will help. Because sometimes when I'm streaming, it's not too bad now. I'm getting about 34 frames per second, but when I get on VATSIM, this aircraft is not too bad, but there are a few times when it's just scraping just above 20. And unfortunately with the Zebo, I'm very often just around about 18 or 19. So if Vulcan picks me up to say 30 frames, it'd be good. Yeah, you're right, Dougal, about training area. In fact, Cairns Airport was built before the war, before the Second World War. And even though it was used during the Second World War, there were, you know, the defence was always scared that the Japanese would come down with a fleet, which they nearly did. If you know your history, the Battle of the Coral Sea was when the American Navy stopped the Japanese from swinging around to Port Moresby. That it just proved the point that these fleets, you know, were moving all around the Pacific, and that the scare was that they might bring a fleet down along the coast of Queensland and stand offshore and bomb the, you know, shell the place. So what they actually did is, behind Cairns you've got what's called the Atherton Tableland, and they built a number of airstrips up there because they considered they'd be just out of range of the Japanese fleet. And one of those airports now called, just having a mind blank there, but Moresby Airport still exists to this day. But further inland they built small strips for fighter aircraft. A lot of B-17 bombers from the United States Air Force were based at Moresby there, and they used to carry out bombing runs from North Queensland up to Rebel and where the Japanese were. And then also during the war, the Australian Army created a huge medical facilities for wounded soldiers coming back from, from the Pacific and even from the Middle East. And I'm not quite sure the figure, but at one stage, with soldiers all based up there, there were quite a few, I think it was into the three-figure thousand based up on the table there. Of course, if you go up there now, there's some relics, but basically you would never know. Just looking at the chat there, what am I supposed to show? So that's my little history lesson for today. I better get back to this job of flying this damn thing. Okay, now that we're at cruising height, I think one thing we're supposed to do is put the engine sync on there. Should have put our transponder direction to normal. And that's about it. Okay, now that we're up there, let's have a look. Oh, we've got a way to go till the top of the descent, 329 nautical miles. I'm guessing, Dougal, that's going to be past your bedtime. Notice here we're down to 7,000 pounds on the centre tank. This thing really burns the juice. We may as well start looking ahead then and see what the story is in Jackson Field. So we don't need Townsville anymore. Goodbye, Townsville. We've got a Q&H, that's good. Okay, Q&H is 1007, and we've got a wind direction of what? 320 degrees at 3 knots. It's a nice quiet day up there. Scattered clouds at 5, outside temperature 26. Now according to Simbrief said if you like you can land at runway 32 right. And that's a ILS category 1 let's have a look at it. I think I know where it's going to be. There. I'm glad about that, I'll tell you now. I don't like coming in the back door on 14 left. It's a bit of a tricky approach. I don't think... Yeah, they do use that runway there, runway 32 left and 14 right, but that's usually for light aircraft. So this is the main runway into Moresby or Jackson Field. I should say Jackson Field. Yeah, Jackson's. Let's have a look. Yeah, let's say to caution align, blah blah blah. You see, runway 14, 14 right, at 32 left, not available for DH8 400 aircraft because it's not long enough. And that same runway is not available for night operations. And the one we're going for, 32 right, is available up to Boeing 747s. So I don't know whether a lot of 747s come in there anymore, but I've got the freeware for it, and it's not bad. There's one mighty dip in the taxiway down here, if I remember right. Okay, happy. Let's have a look. Now this is the thing, this, where is it? Is it showing here? Oh, it's disappeared, that's good. I thought for a minute I was going to get the AYBOR into the flight plan. Anyway, we can check that out. So we're looking at Tosas Benki. Let's then have a quick look at the approach. The arrivals. I think it's one of these sector things, if I remember right. That name Kokoda is very well known in World War II history. That's where the Japanese were actually stopped for the first time really in the Second World War as far as moving south up in the mountains. It was a pretty vicious fight. Where am I? Yeah, I'm not quite sure which sector I should be looking at here. Let's just pick one at random, otherwise in fact that looks pretty well like it, the right one. Well, let's go straight to the, what's that one? Yeah, that's one of those sectors. Now, go back. Approach. So we're going to go for an ILS approach to 3-2 right. So we've got two procedures here, A and B. we don't need to do the RNAV approach. Let's have a look at procedure A. That's that I'm sure is when you come in over the VOR. I think it's the AY over VOR. Can't see it there. And then you come. This is you're coming from the north, then you go in around like that. So that's the procedure A. Let's have a look at procedure B. Yep, that's more in keeping with what we're after. So we won't use that one, we'll get rid of him. And we'll go for this procedure. It looks like we're going to be into the approach at 2,000 feet, down from 4 to 2. And here's our decision heights for the ILS. It's going to be 450. So we're getting all our information here. So the next thing to do is see what we can find out here. Oh, here we go. This is the legs page. This is what I meant by the PY. I'm pretty certain I'm going to have to get rid of that because I think it's going to mess things up. And what we can do, I don't want to be flying over the airport and then doing a doubling back like that previous approach. Let's just go to our, we'll narrow that right down and we'll hit the steps. There you go. You can see the PY or Papa Yankee there. So we're going to have to, like I said, get rid of that. What I'll do first though is I'll put in the approach and just see what happens. Okay, arrival. We're going for ILS 32 right, which should be that one. There's the Bayview transition. Let's execute that and we'll see what the mess is like. Yes, it is that PY again. I can get rid of that if I have to. And what I see is going to happen is that Bayview will probably go in here. And actually we'll probably even have to get rid of the AYPY here. So let's have a look. That's what I mean. See, now we can see it already. You can see what it wants us to do is to go there, turn around, come back, and then go to Bayview, then come back. So it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to fiddle with it and see what happens. So let's go to next. Let's go Bayview. Let's go previous. And let's go there. Let's see what it does. How about that? Spag, you're a genius. In your own mind. Alright, so we don't lose control here. Let's just see how far we've got to go. 249 to top of descent. Right. Well, at a time like the present, we may as well get things organised. What am I doing here? Okay. Let's have a look at our frequency 109.5. And our course is going to be 322 degrees. Okay, so that's all set nicely. Now let's have a look at our inlet rep for our VREF approach. Okay, what does it say here? It says 28 degrees at 138 knots. And remember, this aircraft likes 140 knots. And I don't know if you guys noticed yesterday when XP landed at, what was the second airport? Palm Springs. He actually did touch down at 140 knots, which is spot on for that aircraft. His original VREF, I think, was down to about 127 or something, plus 5, made it 132. Which at the time I thought was probably a little bit too low. That aircraft would have come down with a thump. So fortunate for him, he had it sitting exactly on 140 knots, and boy did he have a good landing. So in this particular case we're looking at 138 for 28 degree flap setting. So add on our 5 for good measure, that's 143. Great, that's a good rate of knots. Now, I'm not quite sure, I should know how to do it, but I'm not quite sure how that wind correction works. I think, what do we have, 3 knots or something? I'm not quite sure. Do you put in minus 3 knots or just 3 knots? And while we're here too, let's have a look at our decision heights. So 450 Barrow or 322. So 450. That's 100, 200, 300, 450. And just to back ourselves up, we've got 322 for the radio. Close enough. So that's decision height. This can go back to normal. Our top of descent. And it looks like we're going to have to get down Bayview at 4, but down to 2002. I don't think would we pick up the ILS at 4? No, we'll see. We'll bring it down to 2. And we've got 2, is that 2 nautical miles? Now ILS to San Eagle, it's going to be 3, that's pretty normal. I suppose I better check out and see what our missed approach is going to be. I'd say it looks pretty straightforward. Down here and back again. Climb 322 dead reckoning. Track to 2,500 before a left-hand turn to PYVOR. PYVOR, where's that? That's PYVOR there. Yeah, here it is. 117.0 PY. Continue climb to cross PYVOR or TESEM at 4000. TESEM, that brings you back over. Oh, I see, like almost like you've got to do this. And I think that's what we saw in that previous approach. Okay, happy. Let's have a look on the map to see where we are. Yeah, about halfway. Just put some toothpicks under your eyelids, Doodle. Well, if you're watching this stream, you're going to have to want to like looking at the ocean, because that's about all you're going to see, scenery-wise. Now, I wonder whether I can pull that. You can see quite so bad, not so dull. Nice ortho, yeah, right. You ever notice when you download an ortho tile for the ocean, it goes so quick, and it's not a big file because there's bugger all there. So while I'm waiting here, I know XP likes his peanuts, but I like just to suck on a butterscotch lolly. Sorry, sweet. Yeah, 178 nautical miles of top percent, so not that far away. I think this map is just for terrain, I think. That should be the weather radar there. And that should be weather radar and TCAS. I don't think there'd be too many guys flying around here at the moment. Gee, 40, 45 frames. So that's pretty rare. I only wish I could get that with Zevo. Can someone do a quick calculation for me? What's QNH 1007 in inches? Yeah, Dougal, default. Yeah, I could have had active sky up, but wasn't quite sure how it was going to affect my frame rates with OBS going. Thanks, Dougal, 2974. The reason I asked for that is if I switch up to here, you can see that I've got to set the landing barrow and it's only in inches. So thanks for that. And it'll only jump in increments of 10. So it's a case of 2970 is going to have to be good enough. Landing altitude, I may as well look that up now. So 129 inches, feet, not inches. So what did I say? Forgot it. 129. So that's hundreds. So again, that jumps in increments as well. So we just set it at 100. Yeah, we get, well, still 100 or so nautical miles, 125. So Zebo was busy yesterday. 2 updates. Oh my God. That guy never stops, you know. Just amazing. It can't be an easy job working on those all that coding. And I think I saw once on the forums how many lines he had of coding. Was it in 40-something thousand or something like that? What that guy's done for X-Plane, without that 737, I tell you what, I don't think X-Plane would have anywhere near the numbers, because it's brought people over to X-Plane. It brought me over from P3D and FXX. So, and if it wasn't for that, I don't know whether I would have bothered. I'll tell you another thing too, Dougal. I really used to enjoy the Quality Wings BAE. What is it, the 146? I still love that plane. And I have always hoped that someone would do a study level of that aircraft. I think, what was it called also? The R, was it the R something 7? And I actually flew in those 4-engine wonders quite a number of times from Brisbane up to the Whitsunday Islands. And I always thought they were, you know, really super little aircraft. I know they had a little bit of problems from time to time. There was complaints that there was some type of fluid fumes from maybe the brakes or whatever it is entering the cockpit, and the flight attendants, they used to make big complaints about the smell. Quality Wings 146, yep, that was it. Yeah, I believe they used to, I don't know, do they still fly into London City? And wasn't Prince Charles rated on the 146? I think that was his own, almost his own private little aircraft for getting around in. And the other aircraft I used to like on FSX was a Dash 7. Yeah, Dash 8's good, great aircraft, but there was something about the Dash 7, because it was real style. You could come into an airport at a crazy height and then just nose it down, flaps all out, and just plant it. Beautiful little aircraft to fly. I forget who the developer was on that. Someone that tried to make one for X-Plane, and I forget who that was too. I tried it out, but you know, it just wasn't anywhere near as good as the FSX one. You're talking about old Prince Charlie with the beady eyes. No, Dougal, it wasn't Aerosoft, it was just some freeware guy. And he came out with the Dash 7 quite a few years ago, and then I think someone else took it over and fiddled with it a bit. When I was flying FSX, I did have the Aerosoft 320. You remember that one at all? .75 nautical miles to top of the sound. Now we're getting there. You had the FS Labs, yeah. Oh, I had the Aerosoft one, and what I do remember about it is it had first officer voice to help you. It was a German girl, call her a girl or a lady. I can still remember hearing that voice. Glide slope captured. G'day XP. Keep your eyes on the road, man. Here you go, XP. There's an external view. Not as nice a blurry as the one you were flying yesterday, but that's your typical Qantas, a kangaroo tail. No, XP, I'm not going to do a wing walk for you today like you did yesterday. There's that wing again. Not quite as good as what you had up yesterday. Only because maybe the graphics could, if I turn them all the way up, it might look a bit better, but that's not too bad. Thrust out of thanks for dropping in. coming up, getting there for top of descent. What have we got? 46 nautical miles. And we're cruising along nicely at Mach decimal 0.76. Gee, look at this, close to maximum speed. That's not bad. We've got a tailwind. No, nothing. It's a smooth fly, isn't it? Hang on, just got a little bit of a freeze there. What's happening? Yeah, well, it's picked up again. Bit of a frame drop off, went right down to 11. Yes, so here we go. We're pretty close to maximum speed. Look at that. We're really cruising. I'd say, I don't know, we're still on centre tank. Probably didn't need all that fuel. Gross rate 131774. Ooh, it's still a little heavy. I should have thrown off a few passages. You notice also that it doesn't count down the remaining fuel and weight there at all, which is something that would be good. But then again, I suppose you can check it all out here. You see that gross weight's dropping there, so just looking at that again. Landing weight shouldn't exceed 130,000 pounds. So 277, 130277. So maybe by the time we get there, that will be down. Thrust setter, are we there yet? We ever heard that before? Yeah, actually, too, lugging all that weight, but boy, she's moving along for a heavy aircraft. I don't know if any of you guys watched those two Lufthansa female pilots. They've got about 3 or 4 videos flying the MD-11. And what I found out by watching it is apparently that with the MD-11, the heavier it is when landing, the better. So it's not a case of, you know, a light aircraft, you know, coming in better. It appears that the heavier, the better. So, boy oh boy, that's going to be one interesting aircraft when Rotate finally get it out. Okay, how we going here? Let's get our some sort of altitude in there. I'll just set it at 10 right now. Let's have a look. 3,500 within 33 nautical miles. I would imagine, but that shale, we're not getting that. You know, there's one of our waypoints. Thought I had a better approach than that. Sorry, arrival. Can we tip this one sideways? Yep. That's a Townsville intercept. I think that's the wrong one. They're all sector approaches there. We need a. I think the Kokoda one comes up the back. So how was the PMDG one then, Dougal? Kokoda's up the back. I knew that wasn't the right one. Lalakai. Okay, we're on our way down. I'll give this a miss. Let's just stick to our approach. I remember this Bayview approach. And XP, if you remember when we had our New Guinea group flight, we all came in over Bayview. Remember we came in over the mountains here on the right, and then whoosh, in we went. Alright, we're going down. Okay, first thing we've got to do now is flick over to climb. Oh, I should have flicked over to cruise mode before, but I didn't. Not that it made any difference, but we should be in now climb mode even though we're descending. Our transponder direction goes to below. And I believe we don't need the engine sync anymore. Come on guys, sit down, go back to your seats. Well, let's hope the rotate one lives up to the reputation. If it's anything like this, it should be a good aircraft. They seem to really go into depth with their aircraft. And honestly, I can't say that I've had any real bugs in this thing. I should have put that fellow off. I don't know why I didn't put him off before. I put the air up, but I should have put the APU off. I was wasting fuel, but anyway, that should go off by itself. It should. So we've got all our settings for landing, our baro setting and our height. And with our annunciator now, we're showing a nav track still and a VNAV descent. There's our altitude set at 10. Doing a turn here. So coming into that, get off the progress page because we know what we're doing there. We go over to the legs. And you can see 66 nautical miles, we've got to be down to 4,000 or above. One thing about this approach I remember is that it's pretty sharp descent. And the other thing too is the transition height is very high. See if it's up here on there. There we go. Transition altitude is 20,000 feet. You don't find that too much around the world here. So 20,000 already. The QNH we had was 1007. Alan A, g'day. Thanks for dropping in, man. Yeah, that's very odd, isn't it? 20,000 for transition altitude. I know it's 18,000 in the States, but geez, 20,000. Okay, what I now like to do is to sync our heading with our course for the approach. How's our speed going, Chad? It wants us to be at 210 knots at Bayview. We'll see how we go, whether we need a speed brake. Yeah, Alan. Finally. I was hoping Geo may have been around because he and I were talking about a flight from Alice Springs in the centre of Australia up to Darwin, but we couldn't get together with that one, but sometime. I think that's about, is it 2 or 3 hour flight? The trouble is there's not much to see, it's all desert. Good to hear you got that sound pack, XP. That's all the more reason why you're going to fly this aircraft. So, oh, he is streaming right now. Yeah, the time zones are a problem. Alan and I have tried to get together a few times with some sort of a joint flight, but while he's awake I'm snoring and vice versa. Now we can see something over there now. Let's have a look at this again. I'm wondering that 2000 is what I might have to put in. seems a bit low for me, but I don't know whether that 4,000, whether it line up with the glide slope. What the hell, let's go for the 2. If I mess it up, I can always fly it in. Okay, we don't need him anymore. Let's see how our speed's going. 250, 210 and 29, so we've still got a way to go. And like I mentioned to XP yesterday, he found out that if you put on the speed brake and the FMC is saying 210, well in this case 210, but in his case 240, even though you throw the speed brake out, the FMC doesn't like it, and it's basically saying no, we're going to stick at 240 unless you boss me around. And that's why yesterday I noticed that the auto throttle, the throttle's kicked in and went forward. So they want to fight you, and that's when you really got to take it over, either with the speed select, or I always use this FMS override, because I know that with the FMS override, the VNAV will just keep working for you. You don't have to adjust the vertical speed yourself. It's just one of those little quirks, and if you look at the FMC, it just says 210, 210, 210 all the way. There's no way in the world, you know, you're going to be doing 210 into the runway 32 right. But I think, and I'm guessing here, I think that the whole idea is that it's saying, well, 210, what you want to do after 210's up to you. Yeah, Dougal, that's something they're going to fix in IXEG, I believe, because that was a major complaint. And I think if I remember right, they promised that they were going to do that. And this one, you can do both. You can either scroll or pull it over. Now we're getting close. So we've got about 200, what have we got? 15 nautical miles, and we're supposed to be at 210. You can see the bugs set there. Sorry, there. But I'll just let it go until we get on to Bayview itself, because it's a fairly short run down to the runway there. You can see it's only about 6 nautical miles, and this is where I tend to miss it. And in fact, you know, I think I'll take it over. So there's the FMS override. Now it says 210. It should actually start to descend to 210. If it doesn't, Then we can hit the speed brake, and we shouldn't have the auto throttle kicking us around. You can see the max speeds coming down. Okay, ignition switch comes to on for both. We get our hydraulic transfer pumps over to on. I usually like to set the auto brake now to say medium. And this will all happen fast now. We can see our speeds coming down nicely. Yeah, okay, I will, Dougal, I'll get it down. You see, we're already picking up the ILS. We're down to 210, and we can even bring it down further, say to 185. And once we hit the 200 mark, I'll just bring my phantom throttles down. You can see it's coming down now. We can take our first set of flaps. You know, I usually mess this approach up, so let's see how I go today. Speed's coming down nicely. 200 down to 185. As soon as we hit Bayview, I'm really going to have to drop some speed down so that we can capture that ILS. In fact, let's take it down even further, 175. Down you come, baby. Another flap. That first one's actually puts us so the slats out. Yeah, I know what you want. You want the gear down. And let's get rid of the speed brake. That's it. She doesn't like the speed brake. And what we can do already, let's hit the ILS. Let's see if we can capture it. Yeah, we're getting the glide slope already. We're down to, what flap setting am I on? 15, let's go down. We're going all the way to 28 already, and we're going to drop our speed down to 165. Come on, girl, down you come. Got the glide slope. Am I down to 28? Flaps 28, I think I am. Yep, so what we can do is arm this little business here. That's armed. And we should be seeing something over here. There it is. 3-2, right. Thrust said if I get a butter, this will be a bloody miracle. A Bruce anchor. I remember the Bruce anchors, but I had mainly Admiralty anchors. No, I didn't. Hang on, what was the other one? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't a Bruce, it wasn't an Admiralty. Something else. Alright, we said our V-speed's probably going to be about 143. So let's get it down. Yeah, I noticed that I captured the glide slope at around the 4,000 feet, so it would have worked. Looking good. Here's our speed bug there. Lovely. let's get up, ready for the approach. So what are we at? 1,800 feet. I know, Dougal, it was a plough anchor. I had 2 of those big suckers. Drop them on your fingers, you used to know it. Okay, my aircraft. Now this is where manual trim really comes in handy. How about that? Eye on the ball, spag, eye on the ball.
$1,000.
Yes, thank you very much. Check. There's our 2 whites and 2 reds.
Approaching. 3, 2, right.
I believe it. I believe it. Okay, our speed's nice. Nicely. Still we've got our 2 whites, 2 reds.
500.
A little bit low.
400.
Plenty of trim. Plenty of trim.
Minimums.
Continue.
300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Acceptable. There's a bit of a float and down we go. Reverses are on.
5,000 feet remaining.
Oh, it's still going down.
4,000 remaining. 3,000 remaining.
Let's give it some brakes, eh? Why aren't we slowing down? That's better. Okay. Not as sweet as it could have been. Let's get this stuff off here and have our blues, and then yeah, this I can put the APU on this time. And I believe we should be turning our flight director off. We've got to turn the weather radar off. Master caution can come off. Welcome to Jackson Airport at Port Moresby. I think I floated that. I noticed that nose wheel didn't drop down for a while. I made the mistake there. Usually I use the trim to drop it down. Let's have a look at Moresby. You can see the dip up there in the taxiway. It's quite a hump I should mean. And so we should be able to go in here. What have we got? Anything spare? Any gate for us? It's all taken, is it? Oh. Oh no, we should be able to go in here to the right. Let's try that. Turn that off so we don't blind anybody. I think we can pop it in here, so it doesn't look like there's any gates at Moresby. Hello, we've got Birdie up there ready to guide us in. Okay, I see you, I see you. You are going to stop me, aren't you? I'm nearly going to run you down, mate. Okay, fair enough. Okie dokie doke. Well, we never used up all of our fuel here, which, yeah, that aircraft was over, but that's what SimBrief gave me, so. Alright, let's get our APU power on. And we can turn all this stuff off here. Leave one on up there for the APU. We can get our seat belts off, smoking off. That can go off. We don't need the yaw damper. We don't need that. Okay, and we can turn them off. Have a look outside. Before I drop the stairs and everything, yes, I'm going to have a look to see what the replay's like. Let's hope this doesn't crash, eh? Let's take it from there and just speed it up a bit. Thanks, guys. She's not the easiest to land, this one. Yeah, it would have been a spot on landing except I left it. See that? Nose is still up. And I've got the reverses on. There it goes. Doing. Yeah, the idea is to use the trim to push it down. Okay, let's have a look from this end. I touched down okay with the main gear, but look at that, that was good. A little bit of wing flex. Look at the still nose. Oh, she actually lifted off there. She bounced. Let's have a look at that again. Yeah, she bounced. Ups a daisy and down again. Boom. See what the boys in the tower are thinking of that landing. All right, ABO, I'll get you. Yep, that's a Rubber Ball Airlines one. But you must give me full marks for being able to balance it like that and keep the nose wheel off the ground for almost the entire length of the runway. I mean, not everybody can do that.
Minimums, 300. 200. 100.
I like that one thrust setter there. That'll be my excuse
50,
from now on.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Yeah. Okay, that one, and then we'll just do this one.
Minimums, 300.
Look at those big slats out there.
200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
That's the first landing. And there's the second landing. No, it's here, isn't it? No, you can't tell from this. Still, wings are still flapping. So, very quick thing we'll do is, where are we? There we go. Forward door open, deploy the stairs, open the cargo doors and the aft doors. And there we are. Okay, like I said, welcome to Port Moresby International Airport, and now it's time for me to go out and practice some of my pidgin English so the locals can understand me. A couple of aircraft there, Air New Guinea. So that's about it for the stream. All you guys, see so many of you there. Douglas, hang on, Dougie, Dougal. Going for the top, flight surgeon, Captain Reynolds, Captain Bombasso, flight surgeon. Going down the list, Charlie, XB for sure. Still looking. That's the longest list. Connor Morse. Still going, thrust setter. Alan. Still going, still going. Oh, some guy there. What's this? Who's this Avio? Gee, are they crashing my stream? I don't know. Oh, XP, thanks. The frames were good. Oh, I'm glad about that. Oh, Avia, you went to watch that movie. Any good? I believe it's very good. So sometime or other I'm going to have a look. Anyway, as I said, that's it. Thanks, guys, for dropping in. I enjoyed the flight. Yeah, I'm still learning with this aircraft. There's always something different to learn. And so until the next time, I won't play any music. I'll just log off from here and see you next time. Bye. Actually, yeah, I might play some music. What have I got here? How about that one? Can you see my emu? I hope so. He's my pet. He does bite from time to time. Anyway, I think I should go. So, till next time. See you guys.